Hey everybody, Lise, not your fucking guru. I wanted to talk to you today about fight clubs. So I guess a middle school in Loudon, Virginia had a underground fight club thing going on. What's the first rule of Fight Club? What's the second rule of Fight Club? Don't talk about Fight Club. Well, someone talked about it and it got busted. Well, I guess there was parents even betting on it and stuff, and it was in people's garages and things like that. Now these were middle schoolers. So then I looked up different fight clubs or whatever, and apparently there's been quite a few. There was a preschool that had a fight club going on. Now, I have to say, I don't condone violence, but it's kind of cool that some people just need to fight. They need that. It's in us genetically, but preschoolers, I'm not cool with that. I don't think you should have preschoolers fighting. Middle schoolers, they're not quite, most of them aren't big enough to really do too much harm. So there was a bunch of stories on different fight clubs. So there was a substitute teacher in, I think it was Texas, that was having students watch the door and having fights in her class, and that one looked like girls. Now, there was a story about a fight club. I don't remember the state. I think it was California. And this wasn't a fight club. This girl just dragged this other girl off of the bench from behind by her hair, beat the shit out of her and gave her a concussion and stuff. That's not a fight club. So I didn't think that was cool. But there was another fight club in California that had apparently been going on for like a decade or whatever. And so I really went down this fight club rabbit hole. There was Street Beefs was I don't know if it's still going on, but it was like a documentary on a fight club in New York where there was a lot of murders and gangs and people talking shit about each other that would end up murdering each other. So this dude put together this fight club, and the little clips I saw were kind of cool. People that had beefs with each other, they're trying to save lives with this one because, it ends up in violence and people killing each other. Well, I don't know if you've ever been in a fight where you have to stand toe to toe with somebody and it just doesn't just happen, but it's a planned thing. I have, and I've been in, little street fights and stuff, obviously growing up. But when you're encircled by people and someone comes at you and it's a fight, it shows a lot about your character. And, some of it's luck, some of it's skill. There was in this one in particular, two good-sized dudes fought it out, and they ended up, shaking hands and being cool with each other and gained a lot of respect. Now, when I was younger, the dudes that would get in fights like outside a bar and getting all pissed at each other, 9 out of 10 times they ended up being friends, like good friends, and getting respect for each other, going in and buying each other a drink. And nowadays it's like assault charges and jail and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. What do you guys feel about fight clubs? Comment down below. I don't know. I know that there are cultures that they have a fight day once a year where you have a dispute with a neighbor or whatever, and you get to duke it out, and then you're supposed to just let it go. Now, humans, we're violent animals sometimes, and you can get a lot of respect from somebody. Like, personally, I think that trained fights are different than just people that haven't had any training or very little training and they don't fight all the time. I personally think that's a kind of a cooler fight to watch because the average person out there talking shit or getting angry, I don't think they realize how exhausting it is and how physically demanding, and respect to people that have skills and things like MMA, boxing, different martial arts and stuff like that. Obviously somebody with some training, it's no contest or whatever with someone that's not trained usually. And there was even a street fight where a guy was fighting, can't remember if the name of those fights, but there was a guy fighting a trans woman. So they were equally matched size and everything. And I thought that was kind of cool because, you know, people say that trans male to female in sports or whatever, and this female, trans female, was fighting a man, and that was pretty cool. They seemed equally matched. And then there was a fight against two guys in wheelchairs, and the video I saw it on, the guy was appalled, but a bunch of people in the disabled, handicapped community had commented how cool it was that they were including handicapped people in, this sort of fighting or whatever. Now, being knee to knee with somebody in a wheelchair and duking it out where you don't get to run away, circle each other, and, do other moves, was these dudes were pretty fucking impressive, and you could tell they knew what they were doing. And I don't know, it's, if you're consenting to it and you like fighting, I think it's kind of a brave thing to do. I mean, knee to knee with somebody, just duking it out, that takes some courage, and it's kind of crazy, but it's also kind of cool. They're consenting adults and that's their choice. So what do you think of like fight clubs with kids doing it, adults doing it? So there's lots of underground fighting that people bet on, and some of it's murderous cage fighting type psychopaths, and some of it is legit just skilled people fighting each other. But like every topic, I believe that there's a gray area, that there's positive and negative to it, and different levels and different situations, from kind of fucking cool to super horrific and awful. And yeah, so did you hear about this middle school fighting ring that these kids' parents were betting on and stuff? And what do you think of that? And have you participated in a fight club before? What do you think of fight clubs? And the media and propaganda likes to show that the United States is filled with pussies and people that are just weak and sit around playing video games, stuffing their faces, and tries to make it like anybody can just walk into our country, like what's happening, and take it over. But then hearing all these different stories about these fight clubs, we've got some badass motherfuckers out there. So, pardon my French, whatever, if you're upset about cussing. But I don't know, like, I know that when I was a kid, I was in some pretty rough neighborhoods, and it was a sign of respect and courage if you could stand up for yourself. And I think many of you have been through that. A fight once that I had in middle school, it wasn't planned, but this huge girl that was the size of a grown-ass large woman, and I was tiny, teeny tiny, encircled me one day with a bunch of her friends, and there was no getting out of it. It was in front of the whole school. All the buses were loaded up, and this chick came charging at me like a damn bull. And I had a little bit of fighting experience, and I ducked and punched her in the face, and she lost her balance. Those big clunky boots with the big rubber soles were popular at the time. And when I hit her, she stumbled backwards and her heel hit the curb, and she went down, and super felt bad and humiliated for her because everyone saw all the kids in the buses were hanging out and all like that. But I know that she never messed with me again. And I usually at school had some bully within the first week try to attack me, and once you stood up for yourself, then they never messed with you again. And in these fights I saw, wasn't like, nanny, you're a pussy because you've lost the fight. The person that won the fight usually went up to the other one, shook their hand, and gained respect. And it didn't seem like they wanted to do any more fighting. So I don't know. What do y'all think of fighting? There's obviously professional fighting and psychopath fighting where they're trying to kill the other person. But with a referee, or the ones that were interesting were just like these women that were fighting. There was a really large woman and a little skinny woman, and they didn't seem matched as far as size and all like that. But it's a good way maybe for certain people to get that anger out of them and be able to let something go, like petty arguments and things that tend to build up. And as far as gangs and street fights and stuff, it seems like also a good way. Like that one with the street beef, or the whatever that one was, that there was some guy owed another guy money, and one of the guys didn't want to fight, and they took them for a walk and said, hey, look, if we pay this guy's debt, will you let it go? Can the two of you just let this go, not talk any more shit? Because it's the talking that tends to build up all the violence or whatever. And then, pride and violence comes along and somebody ends up dying. So I don't know, in that street beef one, I thought it was kind of a cool program that already violent neighborhoods, it was almost, I don't know if I'd say healthy, but a more constructive way than shooting each other or ambushing each other and doing stuff like that. So again, comment down below. Have you ever been in a fight? Have you ever done a like Fight Club kind of thing? Do you think fight clubs are bad? Do you think that we shouldn't be fighting? I know at one of the schools, the students weren't punished for the fight club, and even though it was on school property. And at other ones, police and the school got involved. Now we have social media, so people will sneak phones in or talk about it online, and then that's the end of Fight Club. And I don't think anybody innocent or being victimized that isn't participating in it on their own accord, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about two people that want to duke it out with the referee. Like one of the fight clubs, the kids' rule was no hitting in the face, so nobody would have visual marks or whatever when they went back to school. And they were fighting in the bathroom and stuff. So y'all, if you're still in school, you cannot, these videos are all marked for adults only. But if you're a kid watching this, yeah, don't fight at your school, because the principals and the school stuff is way worse even than the cops. You're going to get in trouble. But that one California school, they had one going for a decade or something, it said. And so, I don't know. I just went down this little rabbit hole with street fighting and secret fight clubs. And first rule about Fight Club, second rule about Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. And I don't know what you feel about that, but I think it's got good and bad both to it. So, yeah. Thank you, my new subscribers. I'm over the 500 mark. I'm super stoked about that. And people have been commenting more, which I really like that. I like interacting with other people and knowing what they think. So thank you for the comments. And hit the like, Share if you like my content. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching my channel and participating. All right, shine on. One love.